For the first part of Project 4, it will be about the star story. So remember, you will need to read this packet with your child. Please invest in your child's education. For week 1, the driving question is, what are the significance of the stars to Native people? There are 6 activities in week 1 for star stories. Students need to complete every activity, all 6 activities. So for the first activity, there was provided in your packet a little black book made out of construction paper and a piece of chalk. So with the little black book and piece of chalk, you will be using those to complete activity 1. So you will go outside every night and observe the sky for 4 nights. Use the black construction paper booklet to draw a picture of the moon and stars in the sky at 8 p.m. on the first night. The picture should include what you see in the night sky: stars, moon, planets, clouds, etc. So maybe if the clouds are covering the whole sky at 8 p.m. on the first night, then that is what you would draw. You draw exactly what you see in the night sky. On the next night, the second night, you will draw a picture of what you see at 8:30 p.m. So the first night was at 8, the second night is at 8:30. Then the next night, the third night, draw a picture of what you see at 9 p.m. Then on the fourth night, draw a picture of what you see at 9:30 p.m. After you have drawn a picture of all 4 nights, write about what you observed. This should include the changes that you noticed each night as the stars, moon, planets were in different places each night. Then answer the question, what are the significance of the stars to Native people? You can write your answers to this first activity on a separate piece of paper. It doesn't need to be in the little black book. It can be on a separate piece of paper, just writing about what you noticed that was different and what was the same each night. And then answer the question, what the significance of the stars are to Native people. You may ask an adult or somebody in your family that may know, and then you can write down their answer. For activity 2, there are 3 questions for this activity. Please read it carefully. Using the clock page, this page right here, and then you have a couple more clocks on here, okay? Using the clock page, show how many minutes are between 8 and 8:30 p.m. Show this on the clock. Shade the area with a pencil between 8 and 8:30. How many minutes are between 8:30 and 9? Show this on the clock. Shade the area with a pencil between 8:30 and 9. Write how many minutes are in the shaded area. How many minutes are between 8 and 9 altogether? Turn the clock page into your teacher for a grade. So you can use this clock to the right to help you as you finish the activity for showing time. This clock shows 12:15. This is the shorter hour hand, and this is the longer minute hand. Each tick mark on the clock represents 1 minute. So for the first clock, you will draw the shorter hour hand so it points at the 8. So you will take your pencil and you will draw the shorter hour hand so it points at the 8. You will draw the longer minute hand so it points to the 12. This shows 8 o'clock. Find what would be 8:30. So you would look at your clock, if you need to look back at this one, and you would see what would be 8:30. So we know this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 8:30 would be right here. So then your longer minute hand would then point at the 6, which would be 30, and your shorter hour hand would stay somewhere between 8 and 9. So you would then take your pencil and shade the area that would be between 8 and 8:30. How many minutes are there between 8 and 8:30? So you would count the minutes between 8 o'clock and 8:30. Then you would fill that number in right here. For the second one, you would draw the shorter hour hand so it points between the 8 and 9. So somewhere right in here. You would draw the longer minute hand pointing to the 6, which we know is going to be 8:30. Then we need to find what would be 9 o'clock. So that means our short hour hand is going to point at the 9. And o'clock, if we look back at our clock up here, o'clock is 00. So that means that our longer minute hand would point to the 12 to show 9 o'clock. Then you would use your pencil to shade in the area between 8:30, which is right here, and 9 o'clock. How many minutes are there between 8:30 and 9 o'clock? And you would write in your minutes. Then you would look at both of the clocks that you have shaded, so this one and this one. How many minutes are shaded all together between 8 and 9? So you would look at how many minutes were shaded on this one and how many minutes were shaded on this one. And you would answer the question here. Please explain your answer in a complete sentence. You can use this clock to show your answer. For activity 3, ask and listen to a family member or friend share a star story or memory with you. Rewrite it in your own words. So as they tell you the story, rewrite what they say in your own words on a separate piece of paper. Then draw an illustration or picture to show what happened in the story on the paper provided. If you did not get ledger paper in your packet, just use a regular piece of paper. Turn in the story and the picture. For activity 4, to learn about the Native American star symbols, you and your grown-up will read at least one of the stories in the packet. You can tell what you've learned in writing, by drawing a picture, or by recording your voice. Then turn in to your teacher. So activity 4 will be using all of these stories here. You can read 1, 2, 3 star stories that are provided. Okay, and you need to pick one of them. You will need to pick one of them to write about, draw a picture about, or record your voice about what you have learned from those stories. That is activity 4. For activity 5, you will retell one of those stories to another from memory. So after you have read it or have had it read to you, you will retell it to somebody else. Have the person that you retell the story to sign on the line below to show that they listened. Or you can record yourself retelling the story and upload it on Seesaw or email your recording to your teacher. For activity 6, you will use this star symbol guide. This shows the 7 brothers and little sister, the Big Dipper, the lost children or bunched stars, the Wolf Trail or the Milky Way, the morning star, which is Venus, the sun, the moon, and many moons. So for project or activity 6, you will share out in writing through email or video their completed teepees. And there is a copy of the teepee included in the packets so that you may cut it out and draw on it. Or you can draw it right here in the space below. You will explain the use of the symbols that you chose. So these are the symbols here on the side, and you're going to explain why you chose them. Traditionally, the Blackfeet place the morning star, Ippisawatsis, on the west facing or back side of the lodge. The 7 brothers and little sisters and the lost children are placed on the smoke flaps. The center area of the lodge is special and saved for spirit power and dreams. Have your grown-up tell you more about this. So remember to ask the grown-ups in your family what they know about teepee design and why we use the stars on our teepees. And that concludes the Star Stories part of project number 4.